Dear conference participants, I'm glad to greet everyone at the scientific event. Also, it takes place at a difficult time for our country. The report on the research results on the topic Conceptual Foundation of the Mechanism of Management of Enterprise Interaction with Environment is offered to your attention. The team of authors who worked on the research is presented on this slide. So, on behalf of the authors team, let me present the main points of the research. At the results of the research, we will focus on the key points, the relevance of the research topic, our tasks within the research, the results, and the further suggestion. Ensuring the sustainable development at all levels of management is extremely important nowadays, as the modern world is characterized by the emergence of the significant number of changes that affect the living conditions of the population, determine the prospects for social economic relations development both within a country and around the world. One of the most important changes are those related to the ecology and the environment. As the sustainable development ensuring should be the important task of not only government level, but also of the management of individual economic entities, we believe it is expedient to form the recommendations for the micro-level subjects in the relevant sphere. So the purpose of the article is to provide further development of the conceptual foundations of the mechanism of management of enterprise interaction with environment. The defined objective involves solving the following tasks. You can see it on this slide, such as identification of structural components of the relevant mechanism of interaction and their characteristics, practical appropriation of individual components of the defined mechanism, in particular in a part of its instruments, and offering measures for Zhytomyr water canal in order to reduce the negative anthropogenic impact of the enterprise on the environment. In order to achieve the objective of the research, we have formed an approach to structuring the mechanism of management of enterprise interaction with environment, taking into account economic, environmental, and adaptive components. The proposed structure of mechanism consists of program and target, instrumental and methodical, and support blocks, and makes it possible to implement a complex approach to the solution of the problems of economic entities' interaction with environment. We believe that the instruments block is one of the significant relevance considering its practical role. The instruments of management of enterprise interaction with environment are the specific means of influencing the interaction process. In our opinion, it is advisable to identify the following three groups of instruments. Theoretically developed bases of the mechanism require empirical testing. Considering the proposed structure, we believe it is expedient to substantiate the instruments of enterprise interaction with environment using the empirical data. One of the most important stages of management of enterprise interaction with environment is the systemization of specific instruments for reducing the negative anthropogenic impact of enterprise activity on environment. The economic entities' activity forms negative impact on all the environment components: land, water, air, biological diversity. One of the components of the environment, namely air, was chosen for a more detailed analysis of the negative factors which can be managed by an individual entity. The impact of certain types of pollutant emissions on the overall level of air pollution was analyzed on the basis of data and individual regions of Ukraine. The initial series of data was based on 11 factors, 9 of which were included from consideration by an iterative test of the model on the collinearity of factors, as well as the analysis of the importance of each factor impact on the total pollution. Thus, as a result of the relevant research, only 2 factors remained, which were defined as independent according to the calculation and had the most significant impact on the formation of the dependent variable. Those factors are the carbon monoxide and non-methane relative organic compounds emissions. Subsummation of the substantial of the elements of the instrumental and methodical block in terms of specific measures for ensuring the interaction of the enterprise with the environment was carried out on the example of Zhytomyr Vodokanal, whose activities are related to the generation and management of waste and which at the same time provide environment services. Such choice is defined by the fact the mentioned subject is characterized by the double impact on the environment, positive from the perspective of environmental services provision and negative from the perspective of environment pollution with emissions. Based on the analysis of Zhytomyr Vodokanal data, which was the object of the study, the measures were proposed to decrease the corresponding emissions from the activities of the enterprise that will reduce the level of negative anthropogenic impact on the environment. The formed model and its practical application made it possible to define the key measures and instruments to be implemented in the activity of Zhytomyr Vodokanal. We believe it is expedient to divide proposed measures into 2 groups: those oriented on the management system and those related to harmful emissions reducing. The developed recommendations cover on all the components of the environment. Therefore, it was found that the prospects for further research are in the field of substantial of scientific instruments for the interaction of the enterprise with the environment in relation to other components of environment. Thank you for your attention. If you have any further inquiries regarding the topic of the research, one of the co-authors, Doctor of Sciences, Professor Sergei Lehenchuk, will provide the answer.